Hi, everybody. This is Melanie here from Clarity Yoga Shala, and I just want to welcome you into our presentation tonight about the Munay. I hope you're well and I hope you're rested, and thank you for tuning in with this. So, we are going to have a look at the implications of what Munay actually is. To the winds of the south, Amaru, mother of the waters. We welcome you into our gathering here tonight, and into our healing space. Help us as you do, Amaru Mother of the Waters, to shed our skin the way that you do, all in one piece, in one go, without having to let go of a little bit, part by part by part, but just to let go completely so we can re-emerge from this space totally brand new with the beginner's mind to see the world from the eyes of a newborn with curiosity. Help us, Amaru, Mother of the Waters, just to clear our minds, shed what's happened to us in the past so that we can step forward from a whole new perspective. We thank you, Amaru, Mother of the Waters, for these teachings. To the winds of the west, Jaguar Otorongo, we ask you to climb down from that amazing tree of life, paw by paw from those high branches until you're walking down the stem of this wonderful solid tree until your feet touch the ground. We welcome you, Otorongo, to come sit with us so that you can be with us and you can protect us as we explore and connect with the healers of the past, the midwives, those who nurture, the plant healers, and the healers from the future. We welcome you, Otorongo, to be in this space with us. Aho. To the winds of the north, wonderful hummingbird, magnificent hummingbird, teach us to achieve the impossible just as you do. So to fly up and to fly downwards at will, and to fly backwards and to fly forwards, knowing that we can do what we need to do. Help us to cultivate the energy to achieve our visions and our heart desires just as you feed through the joys from the nectar of those tubular flowers as you dip your beak in to eat that beautiful nectar which gives you the energy. Let our nectar be love, let our nectar be joy, let our nectar be community, let our nectar be love, and let that fuel us so that we can achieve those dreams and desires of a heart ahead. To the winds of the east, Eagle Condor, you who fly so high above the snow-capped mountains, yet below the stars. Show us your vision. Let that vision become our vision. Show us that we can rise high above so we can see what no one else can see. We can see what our vision is according to the laws of the universe, and help us to be able to look down so that we can see the interconnectivity of the land, of the waters, of the trees as they breathe. We can see deep into the oceans and into the animals that walk on the land. And we can also see the animals that fly. We can see the whole and its wonderful mirage woven in together. Help us also to develop your eagle eye so we can see into the heart of those that work with us. So thank you, Eagle Condor, for showing this magnificent view, this wonderful overview effect. Aho. Another Earth Pachamama as we connect with the deep, deep Earth plane. Thank you for your undying support, even though you don't really require anything for us. Thank you for holding that nurturing environment so we can plant our seeds, and our seeds can grow strong roots deep into the earth and help us to see the light through the crevices within the earth plane. Let us be wrapped in the warmth from the warm soil. Help us to see within the caves and the undercurrents of the waters and the oasis that is underground. So, Mother Earth, We thank you for holding this place so sacred and that we can be nourished by you day in, day out, and we honor you. Aho. Grandmother Moon, Father Sun of the Star Nations, thank you so much for shining that magnificent light onto us so that we can see where we sit within the magnificent solar system. Help us to commune with the ancestors who have ascended into the night plane, into the star nations, and help us to connect with our brothers, sisters, cousins who are already within the star nations, and help us to learn how to shine as brightly as they do in the night sky down here on this earth plane. So, Grandmother Moon, Father Sun, Star Nations, thank you for reminding us who we are and who we can become. And finally, to you who are known by 1,000,000,000 names and yet still remain unnameable, we will call you for now just the web of evolving consciousness. As we grow, you grow. And as you grow, we find our place within you and help us to nourish and feed our observations, our wisdom, our experiences into you as you guide us within that thread of connections so we can fulfill the life we were here to live and the life that we dreamed of. So thank you, you who are nameless yet known by 1,000 names. Aho. And from this place, I would like you to take a lovely inhalation. And also a lovely exhalation. And just let yourself settle into this space. Okay. So we're gathered here to have a look at the Munay key rites, and I'm presenting it as a transformational path for practitioners, as you can see. So essentially, the Munay key rites even though it can help you to mentor and work with your existing clients and maybe create a new avenue within your current practice, it's also a way of personal development for yourself as well. And what I love about the Munay Key Rites is that it gives us an overall picture and a direction and a map, which is incredibly practical. So from the map, you know exactly where your client is in terms of their personal growth and what practices you can use from each of the cardinal directions. And you'll also know where you want to take them and when they're ready to go on the next part of their journey. So it's essentially about your growth as well as the growth of others. So first of all, we've also already said welcome, and what is really important is to honor our journey as practitioners and those who we walk alongside and who walk with us. And some people will stay with us for, a long time, and some people will take what they need and leave. And some people will stay with us for ages. But what's important for us is how the rights can offer the support. And most important, what exactly are the rights and why is this different? And once we have that, how do we integrate and how do we apply them? So that's essentially the format of what we're going to do today. But a little bit about me and why maybe I have something that can offer you. And this is essentially a chronological order of my personal journey. For some reason, I started learning Thai massage, having never had massage before. But what that did was open up the concept of working with energy lines, which was again quite new to me. And along with that, and around about the same time, I did and completed my first yoga teacher training. And I was absolutely fascinated about the energetic body because back at that time, which was 2016, it still wasn't a commonality. It was quite new. So that made me switch on into there's something new going on here within the body system. So as part of that exploration, I learnt breathing techniques from pranayama at a school in India, Pune. It's in a place called Navala, a very traditional village and a very old yoga school. In fact, it's probably the oldest yoga school in the world in terms of a formal school. And I learnt with one of the last living teachers of pranayama. And the thing that was unique about that school is that they explored the science as well as the spiritual and the physical benefits of pranayama. So they presented pranayama as another modality for healing and self-healing. Absolutely beautiful. And along that time, and again with the same school, I did practice and learned about Ayurveda. So, in terms of the five elements and how they manifest within our bodies, and what happens when we go in balance and also when we're out of balance, so that we can apply the appropriate breathing techniques, the appropriate yoga postures for real holistic healing. But of course, there is a science behind healing, which is why I studied yoga therapy with a Svasta yoga school. And again, at that time, I had to travel into Germany and other countries in Europe to learn about this because there was only one school in the UK and it wasn't yet established. So again, this kind of demystified yoga, demystified pranayama, what was real, what was mystique, how does the mind work, and how does everything integrate together? So I continued working through that, and some years later, um, the rite of a womb was presented to me, and it's like, I really want to understand this, partly for my own heritage and lineage and things that had happened within my family. And that led me to learning the Munay. So this was round about COVID. And we were very lucky at my Shala that the founder of the Spirit of the Inca came to our Shala to teach us the Munay. And it was quite opportune because we only had a small window during the COVID period when it was okay to work with people. And so we gathered as a small group of yoga teachers, so people who already understood the energetic system, to learn the Munay from Chris Waters. And this is where we started to learn how to draw in the cardinal directions into our yoga teaching, how to bring in the energetic body into ceremony as well, and also how to connect with the different seeds in terms of a rite of passage. Which can link in to the different chakra systems and also linked into the physicality, the spirituality, and our different layers of consciousness. And from that, which is where my training kind of came to an end, I worked with the Four Winds School of Shamanic Medicine, which is considered the gold school of shamanic medicine. And it's run by and created by a guy called Alberto Bilaldo, who I didn't know at the time had international credentials. And what I loved about this is oh my gosh, it goes so deep. I cannot tell you how deep it really goes. It looks really simple, but it builds layer upon layer upon layer and really helped me to understand the invisible world, the world that is not seen. And more about that later if anybody has any questions. But what really, really took it onto another level, these practices on another level, was clearing space again with Chris Waters. And that's when I just really had this belief and the experience of the invisible world. Chris is very practical. And the Four Winds is very academic. So, we get the best of both worlds here. And it is from this that my feeling and beliefs, we need to bring this to the forefront as many people who understand the mystery and to demystify what um, to de to demystify spirituality, and that's actually really such a part of us, and how it actually links into um, for some people into spirituality or into their own religion. And I've just been so lucky to see how it's illuminated how tradition and things that we've learned and we knew innately, or things, the stories that we heard, actually have kudos behind it. And it's all very real. It's not our imagination. It's all very, very real. So that's a little bit about me. And I suppose, sorry, I'm looking at my notes here, which are just like pinpoints. In a summary, it's as well as the guide, they are initiations which help us to look at the world from different perspectives. So you get a real holistic view rather than your own story. But I can look at it from four different directions, four different perspectives. And in that way, it helps us to reshape consciously how we view the world. So we have our own, we can manage our own neuroplasticity in terms of how we want to operate in the world. And we can live the dream that we were here to dream, because we realize that we do have a choice, and that choice is very real. Everything else is just practice and tests. So it's shaping our inner landscape, so to say. So that's where we're going. So why, as a practitioner, may you find these rites useful? So we have layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. And as with yoga, we can look at whichever layer that we want. So first of all, we have our perceptual states, which are presented in terms of animal archetypes, which I used in the opening invocation. So we can look at the world from the literal, this is how it is. There's no story, it's just the facts. Particularly useful for creative people because we have this amazing imagination. But let's strip that away and let's just look at this from the cold, hard facts. And that's wrapped up in the archetype of the serpent in terms of Kundalini energy, so to say. And the serpent because it's very cold. And that's just one way of looking at things. And I found this particularly grounding, especially when in a place of confusion or you've got lots of conflicting views coming through. Just strip it away. What are the facts? And that's a really good starting point. And then we can look at this from the perspective of the jaguar, which represents the mind. And why? Because the mind's always generally on high alert. It's like, what's happening next? Where are we going? What are we doing? Where's this self-protection? Where's all the fear? And we don't, and what we want to do is operate from a place of love and gratitude and beauty without having fear guide us where we're going. So that's why the metaphor of the jaguar is used here. It's beautiful because the jaguar also, we call her in from over the rainbow bridge. So we're calling her in from another realm to be with us when we're here. Um, there's a lot that we can do there. There is so much, so much. And it's interesting because in this direction, this is where we actually connect with our ancestral realm in a much, much deeper way. We can look at this from the perspective of a hummingbird. It's like what feeds us, what nourishes us. Oh, I should have said that the direction of the west helps us to connect with the divine feminine. And then the direction of the north, which is where the hummingbird comes in, helps us to connect with the divine masculine. So we have two perspectives. We have our heart, and then we have our direction. It's that this is where I'm going. Very direct, very focused, nothing gets in the way. Let me have this energy so that I can achieve what I want to achieve. And that's why we have the two perspectives here. And then we can look at this also from the direction of the east, which is the becoming. It's like, where are we actually going? What's the vision that needs to be manifested? So that takes us into another layer of our consciousness, and it allows us to dream whilst we are awake, so to say. And of course, each one of these connect with different parts of our brain. So we're connecting with the reptilian brain, we're connecting with the creative brain, we're connecting with the logistic brain, we're connecting with the prefrontal cortex, we're connecting with the neocortex. And all of this comes from Jung's perspective theory of working with archetypes. And how does this help us? It can help us, especially as practitioners, to overcome burnout and from overworking, because it helps us to put things in different pockets, and it gives us boundaries that we can explore different things and look at the interconnectivity of these boundaries. And within each of these directions, we also have rituals and ceremony to really help us get underneath what the core values are, underneath what's actually really happening. So that's how it really helps us. And then if we're mentoring and working with our clients, it's like, well, we can assess where are they on this journey? Where do they need to be? Or what needs tidying up? And the more and more that you work with it, the clearer it becomes, the more you can add into it. Because like yoga, it's about making it your own. But what we give you is an absolute framework. So, in summary, what we have here are four different ways of looking at things. The serpent is very literal. The direction of the west is very symbolic. The direction of a north hummingbird is very is about mythology, and the direction of the west is very much about energy. Okay, and they're all wrapped together. We'll go into that in a bit more detail in a few moments. So to deliver all of that, the rites, this is a list of the rites here. This is us delivering the program in Spain. It's beautiful, absolutely wonderful. And I've put this in non-technical kind of terms because do you know what? It really makes sense here. Stage one, which takes up a bulk of the time, is about healing and protection. Because when you're working with energy, as you know, as a practitioner, you need to be able to protect yourself, especially as we're going to unravel some of the things that might be limiting us at the moment. So this we have a healer's right, which gives us the power of the mindset that we're going on a healing journey. And then for our protection, we then go on to receive a bands of power. And this is what absolutely wonderful. It's very much about color and imagination and about connecting with the different energetic centers and clearing our energy centers out. But most importantly, they become your bands of protection as well. And they're great to deliver to children. Then we have a seer's right, and we have to the reason we do these two rites first, the healer's rite and the bands of power, is because with the seer's rite, it allows you to see the truths and the untruths, which can be quite difficult when you're looking at the truths and the untruths that are within you. So you have to be ready, you have to feel safe, and we build that up first of all, because then you're coming into your true honesty and your truth. And then you have a harmony rite, which is where we start to plant the seeds into each of the chakras and balance the chakras. So that's where the healing comes in, and then your protection. Strictly speaking, these are called your foundation rites, and these are safe to give to anybody else as a practitioner. And I would always work with these before any of the other rites because we're creating a foundation for which you can grow deeper into your practices and which other people can grow as well. Then we come on to what we've called vision and connection, because this is about growing our vision and connecting with our heart truth, is how I would describe it. Technically, it's called the lineage rites because they're connecting us with the past and taking us into the future. So we have a day keeper's rites, which is connecting, as I've said, with the healers of the past, the healers of the future, the midwives, people who bring the world, who bring creativity, who birth nurturing into this world. It's very much about the divine feminine. It's very much about altered, creating altars. It's very much about being in the magic circles. It's absolutely wonderful. Um, it's also about letting go. Arguably, this is here in the healing and protection, but it's about knowing who you are. And we equally, the wisdom keepers, right? With the divine masculine. So I would say from a yogic perspective, that we have two energetic principles which come together. We have our registic quality and Thomistic quality, which explains how the universe comes in together. It's that raw power impacted with the creativity. They come together to create the earth. And the wisdom keeper relates to that raw power. It's like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm burning all my bridges. There is only one direction. I'm highly focused, and this is what it is. And that's connecting with your divine masculine. Most of us have one or the other, which dominates, but it really helps to make other parts of us, other hidden parts of us, much more accessible. So this is a wisdom keeper's right. And then we go to the earth keeper's right. So now we've got these two primordial energies which have come together, which allows us to become stewards of the earth because we've developed that ability to know right from wrong on a very deep intuitive level. And it's our right to look after all living beings. And why is this useful? Because when we especially if you go deeper into energy medicine, you start to access the different realms, the underworld, the current world, the world that is to come. So it's about honoring that. It's very much a Buddhist philosophy. And then I like how this is called stewardship and leadership, as if I didn't write it. But it encompasses two major rights, the star keep and the creator's right. So this is about taking us beyond what we already know and daring to believe those visions that we actually see and to know that these visions are probably part of a bigger plan that we might not actually understand, but it's believing that I am part of a bigger plan and what I'm doing is on the right path and I may not understand it, but I'm still going to go with it. And then, of course, we have the collaboration with the creator. And this really helps because that's helping us to understand that we are part of something that is really magical. And so those are the nine rites. The 10th rite is actually called the rite of a womb. And there's a story behind that, which is why I've not actually included it here, but it's something that we do include afterwards if people wish to receive that. So these are the nine rights. One, two, three, four. Four foundation. Three connects us to our lineage. And two, which take us into the future realm. And of course, as we go through this in our training, we discuss this. We find out where you are, what your principles are, and it's part of making it your own from whichever direction you work with. So with all of these together, they helped initiate inner clarity, again to look up and shake up our inner landscape and then realign it as well. It also helps us to recognize and really have those deep inquiry. What is my purpose? Am I living my purpose? Can I start to live with my purpose? And you know what? When you've got all that sorted out, there's such congruency between the bigger world as we see it, what we're thinking, and how we action this. And that makes you stronger because you're living in your truth. Some people have called this leadership. And to be honest, when I've worked on leadership programs in universities and the facilitators have delivered the concepts, it's pretty much the same thing, but in a different language. A lot of it is about really attuning into our creative minds because we've done a lot with the planning, the strategy, the systems, everything like that. The systems breaking down. But we can at least start rebuilding new systems, which are probably more holistic. And what's really interesting is that the children that are being born today, they already know all this and they're standing up for themselves. But this still has so much wisdom to offer them. So how do we integrate these? So, as you've probably gathered, the rites are seeds. Okay, we plant the seeds in Mother Earth so that they can grow deep roots, and these are roots of reflection. And this is really important because through reflecting and looking at the outcome, we know how to adjust and we can choose which seed we want to grow. Like like and myself, you probably have lots of ideas and then it can get quite confusing. I call this chaos coming into form or the formless moving into form. And we can absolutely choose which one that we want to manifest. We have the practices to help accentuate these. And, for good old storytelling, sitting around the fire so we can tell the stories and recap on the stories that we've had. Um, a lot of people like integration through journaling, walking rituals. Within this program, it's really more about mentorship, but I guess everyone has their own tools to do this. But again, within the program, we show you the practices to do so that you can really build and grow these seeds. Without building and growing the seeds, then it's just another wonderful 4 days away from your normal practice, a bit more insight, but nothing really changes. You've got to do the practices. And the way that I was taught, particularly through the four winds, is well, how does this actually work with the mind? And so we will place the different archetypes into different parts of the mind. So again, you're stimulating and creating balance across the whole of the neocortex. And oh, I'm in reptilian mind. Oh, I'm going to need to go into the prefrontal cortex. So I need this imagery and this vision. An application, what happens? Really interesting. Yeah, it does give you more presence because you're in congruency between how you're connected into the bigger web of evolving consciousness, because your head and your heart are now balanced and you're tuned into your intuition. Um, you can be completely present. You can take things on not as your own, but from a place of curiosity. And you can also go around the map. It's like what's actually being said? What are the emotions behind it? Does this fall in line with my direction or their direction? Am I in my dream or am I stepping into somebody else's dream? It really gives you a deep sense of focus. And with that comes resilience. So again, in our everyday world, it's easy to go into that place of stress and anxiety, but also it's easier to get back into your center because you know the practices, you know that you've gone into a different plane or into a different realm. It's like, that's okay, that's life, but now I need to come back. And you can take the wisdom that you've learned with that. And it also helps you to be ethical according to your truth and your beliefs, not somebody else's. So again, we will show practices here that can help and support you. Just go back here. So for example, um, some people who've been on this course have been critically ill. And so, even though they came on with the intention of helping others, what's actually happened is it's helped them as they're going through their clinical journey to manage their illness. So it's given an inner sense of resilience, a really positive self-talk, call upon the directions of the archetypes. So you're actually connecting with the different healing aspects within yourself so that you can take that next step along the healing journey. And that's incredibly powerful. Within the corporate world, some people have used the principles to help create a sacred and safe space for when difficult situations need to be managed. And again, that's really, really critical because it means that you're on a balanced playing field, which puts other people within your circle or within the organization or the team in a place of balance because they can feel your truth and they can feel, they can sense what's happening. So it helps with rapport building. How else has it been used? Some people have gone through really dramatic life changes. For example, going through retire, trying to get the most out of their retirement as they prepare to leave an organization to make sure that they get the best of what is due for them. And such people usually work in highly political environments. So in those cultures, it's really easy to get drawn in into the system and into relationships, which may be good or bad. So you might need to draw on that extra strength to be able to manage the other. And it's really helped people to navigate systems um, and cultures so that in their transition of life, it's been a lot easier and just feel so much happier. Whereas, things like this, it can be quite traumatic. As it's moving from one part of the world to the next, it's helped people to prepare. And some practices, maybe not shown in the Munay, but it's helped to cope with life transitions when a loved one has moved on. It really gives you a framework to navigate your inner landscape through grief, as well as helping others to manifest, to work with their inner landscape, as well as recapitulation of people who are coming to end of life. That ability to be present and listen, and you can literally see what their journey is, and others can be heard and know that they've seen. What other ways there to be of service? It's just simply beautiful. So, what is this all about? This was the last group we did. It was amazing. As you can see, a small group. And that helps with integration, it helps with communication, and it also makes it incredibly powerful. You're not passively receiving, you're getting into it and you're creating together. Um, from the perspective of me being a senior yoga teacher, according to the Yoga Alliance, then I'm authorized to accredit 28 CPD points as professional training. So you will get a certificate to show that you've attended all 28 hours of this training program. And it doesn't just stop there because from experience, I know that there's some hand holding that's needed afterwards, and I'm always available for that. And we're building a network of people who've gone through the same training as well. And they are magnificent people, from doctors to counselors to self-employed people to yoga teachers. We all have our unique way. So, this brings us pretty much to the end of the presentation. I hope there was something in there for everybody. And of course, if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask, or even more curious, then simply email me. You've had some emails, but my email is ignite@clarity.yoga. IGNITE at clarity.yoga. Be more than happy to help or to answer any questions and see where you are. And maybe this training isn't for you, but I might be able to direct you into a different direction, which is more suitable. So yeah, I will send the links so that you can book some time in some one-to-one. And this is totally complimentary. It's just me kind of sharing what I know and how I can be of service to you. So all I can say at this point is thank you so much for watching. I hope I've opened up some level of curiosity for you, and I also hope that you will come along and join us. Our training starts on the 7th of August, and it's 28 hours, which takes us through to the Monday, and particularly powerful time, Lionsgate. And my aim for this initiation is to really bring in ceremony. Let's bring in creativity. Let's build a new pitch. Let's see how this pitch that's going to evolve. And, let's put us in the mindset that we are part of the solution of the evolving new world, which is homo luminous beings, people who are shining and that just see the world from a place of beauty. So let's get us into that mindset, and you'd be amazed to see how things can change. It's on that note that I think we can safely close the directions. And I very much hope and look forward to seeing you again and hearing from you in the very near future. To the men to the south, Amaru, Mother of Waters, thank you for being part of this healing space and watching us as we explored a new way of being, a new way of thinking, looking at different perceptual states and the journey that lays ahead of us. Thank you, Amaru, Mother of Waters, for keeping us wrapped in your coils of light so that we may shine beautifully. Aho. To the winds of the west, Otorongo, Eagle Condo, thank you for being part of this healing space and watching over us as we explored the Munay Key. And thank you for looking after our ancestors so that they were watching over us as well. Thank you, thank you. Please return back over the Rainbow Bridge into the world from whence you came. Aho. Hummingbird, thank you for bringing your magnificent colours and curiosity and vibrancy into our healing space. We appreciate your presence and reminding us that we only need to feed from the nectar of love, joy, and laughter to give us and fuel us with the energy to create a new world and to be part of the solution. I have. To the winds of the east, Eagle Condor, thank you for taking us and elevating us into a new realm so that we can see what somebody else may not be able to see, but know that this vision is for us in order to help evolve a new growing world of a Homo Lumina beings that will walk on this earth. To the star nations, grandmother moon, father sun, the stars, the constellation in the night sky, help us for owning who we are and our presence and our gifts so that we can share and manifest this within this world and to show that you are watching over us and we are part of a much bigger, wider plan to help others to walk from a place of beauty. And to you who are nameless, yet known by 1,000 names, this evolving web of consciousness, thank you for showing how I fit into the greater plan and know that this is going to feed into the evolving world of a future that we're proud to leave our children and their children and their children for times to come. Aho. Namaste.